This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your sunrise safari, where the sun rises in the sky and provides us with light and hopefully warmth. The sun is already quite high and it's already quite light, but we are sitting at my favourite viewpoint at the junction of Zoe's Road with Rebecca's, looking at the misty morning. The mist is, of course, rising, and it gives that glorious view across our horizon. And it's not that cold. It's rather pleasant. So I have to say I'm very much looking forward to what is in store this morning. Get ready to jump on my safari vehicle, everyone, because it's that time of day for your live bumble through the bush. Good choice for choosing to jump on board, everyone. I'm very glad you're on the back of my safari vehicle. But it won't just be my safari vehicle. Rusty is also out with Cedric driving, and you can also join us on the bushwalk team with JP and Pridelands this morning. So a lot lies in store, and if it's anything like yesterday, my goodness, I imagine it will be absolutely action-packed. Yesterday was fun. My name is Lauren, and I do have Davi once again on camera with me. And as I mentioned, we are on Zoe's Road. We're going to head south, see if we can get a little peek of the hyena den again on Little Gowrie, but from the boundary this time. It's visible from the boundary line. See if we can see any Misi action, aka hyenas, and we'll scratch around for Mr. Mareebs again. He's definitely hanging around Chitwa these days. Oh, we should just look at that mist. It's basically just water particles. It's water suspended in the air. It's a phenomenon. And it's basically dispersion, if you want to get technical about it. Where warm, moist air clashes with cold air. On a really cold day, when you open your mouth and exhale, and you can see your breath, that's also mist. And what's happening here is because the sun is rising, it's warming up the cold ground, and the moisture is dispersing in the form of mist. But the most important thing I have to tell you is this safari is live. Mistakes, bloopers and all, you'll see it all. And it's interactive, so you absolutely must talk to us. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can use the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. You can use @FC if you're on the YouTube chat. Or, if you prefer, you can head over to the WildEarth website. And as long as you've registered, you can submit your questions under the live safari page. Kids, if you're watching, please do talk to us. We prefer your questions. They're very often fabulous. And to be alerted to your questions, you need to email us. So just drop us an email at kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Tell us your name, your age, and where you're from, as well as your wonderful question. But don't make it too difficult, because I've not had enough coffee for your difficult questions yet. I have got a coffee, don't worry. I just haven't drank it. I'm just going to sit here for a moment so you can watch this misty morning and listen to all the wonderful sounds. I hope you all enjoyed that misty moment. But I'm not sure what we've got in store today weather-wise, so let's take a look at what it's going to be like across all our locations.
Good morning everyone, welcome to Juma Private Game Reserve. It is a cold morning this morning. We're currently watching at some impalas. It's very early in the morning still and we are looking forward for the day. My name is Cedric and I have Morgan on camera with me today. Yeah, so we did a little drive already this morning and we looked around, tried to hear any alarm calls, but then we found these two impalas grazing there. So our plan for today on our side, Tabon Gumi was in Buffelshoek yesterday, but not too far from Juma. So we might head that direction and see if we can see any trucks or relocate him on Juma. Might have heard some elephant a bit further down, some branch crashing. So obviously the impalas lie down at night and look for danger, and in the morning they start grazing or browsing. I'm just going to wait here a little bit because we never know, maybe we might start hearing some alarm calls, because the predators would be mobile at this time of the day. So you can see the impalas would be a bit darker in the morning because they create something called pillow erection. So basically they give themselves a type of goosebump for the hair to get a bit more puffy, and that will keep them a little bit warmer in the morning. Or at night also when it's cold, obviously. You can clearly see now the follow me sign at the back, the little black lines on the bump, which form actually a sort of a M, the letter M. There was a few more impalas where we drove earlier, but we didn't see anything else. Could you like to know if animals see the same during the day and at night? Basically the prey species see better during the day, but for the predators they have very good sighting at night as well. So the predators, I say, would see probably better during the day, but they will see very well at night, and the prey will be less able to see at night. So obviously, because of the predators are hunting at night, it's important for them to have good vision at night. Okay, I think I'm just going to reverse, couldn't hear anything, and turn and drive towards maybe quarantine section, and then cross to Galago cut line. So I apologize, I'm just going to turn quickly and go in the east direction. Yeah, I just want to go check there because I was hearing earlier some branches being broken, so maybe there might be some elephant there. The little bird seems to caught something, or is eating something. I don't know if you can see in front of me there. What is that? I'm not sure which bird it is. It is eating something, but I can't really see what it is as well. There we go. I think now we might get off the road. It might be a pipit, but I'm not 100% sure. Identifying the little birds like that is quite difficult. It gives a lot of practice. Apparently he doesn't want to move off the road. So obviously most of the bird would have been sleeping as well during the night, except for the owls, for example. Let's see if we can go a bit closer. Hopefully he will move off the road. There he goes. So we're moving east now.
We have made our way down to Gowrie Main, which is our southern boundary. And it's not as aesthetically pleasing as our northern boundary, which is Bufusu Cutline, I must say, but it's very productive. Lots of species come from the south and cross over into the north, and vice versa, naturally. But this is where you will sort of find the Nkahumas these days if they move north. Hello, sir. You're just taking a slow stroll across the road, and it's where you will find lots and lots of leopard action. Many of the leopards like Sabui, Lanka, Shasha, they will be sort of found, at least for us, on Gowrie Main. On other properties, other people can see them, but if we want to see them, Gowrie Main is absolutely the best place. And Paula, have you seen any Panthera pardus around? Or Panthera leo? Or Crocuta crocuta. You heard that one, didn't you? I am going to bumble forward. The hyena den is not too far away. We won't go into Little Gowrie today. That was a bit of a special moment yesterday. I was allowed to show you it all. That castle, it was magnificent. But you can see it from Gowrie Main. It won't be the visuals. You can see it from Gowrie Main. It won't be the best visuals, but you can see it. Look at that sunrise, Darby. Can you see it? Let's see if we can get into a nice position for this. I'm going to let my boss on the back tell me where to position. I wasn't fast enough there. Look at that. Just through the vegetation. The sun is putting his hat on. I'm just going to sit and listen for a moment because this is a perfect time. You will hear audio of all sorts of species. Okay, I think Davy and I are going to sit here for just a little moment longer. But you guys are going to head over to JP.
Good morning and welcome to Wild Earth. We're live at Eco Training Pridelands and we're about to start our walk at Ndlovu Dam. We also just relocated our hippo that disappeared a few days ago from the Leopard Dam, where we found him for the first time again in a very long time. So he disappeared for a few months and it seems as if he's now come back. So my name is JP LaRue and behind the camera we've got M4. We're just going to see what our hippo is getting up to. Probably just returned from his nights wandering about. So when hippos do feed, they mostly feed out at night time. However, in winter, if it's overcast, I have seen them quite often feeding out in the middle of the day. I've also seen them in periods of drought that they go out in the daytime because there's such a lack of nutrition for them in the food that they are actually forced to expose themselves to heat as well as walking further than that they would normally walk to go and try and find food. It's actually quite surprising how little food they need to actually support their body compared to other large herbivores. One of the reasons which helps them is that they can maintain more consistent body temperatures by remaining in water, as well as it takes very little energy to support yourself into water. It seems like the same bull that we had here a few months ago, and I hope that he's going to stay this time around. But quite often what we do find is that when the elephants come and swim here, they put a lot of pressure on him and they tend to push him out of the dam, and then he moves off. So quite often these lone bulls will occupy water holes like this, and hopefully for him there will be a few ladies that will be joining him so that he can start off his own little harem. Good morning, Max, and welcome to the show. Yes, on your observation with the water, that is actually levels are dropping. It is winter, and that is what we expected. And we'll see that the pools will consistently drop in their levels over the next few months. And our first rains will most likely only be here by November. If we were lucky like last year, we might actually have rains already by September, but that's exceptional. But there's also a purpose in why dams and pans and natural pans will eventually dry up. It actually forces animals elsewhere. And that dispersal makes sure that the animals go and feed somewhere else, so there's less pressure on that environment. And it also assists with breaking parasite chains, as well as the spreading of disease that will become centralized in one area quite often. We're going to watch our hippo for a little bit longer. Let's go and see what the other guys are up to.
I'm Maggie, also known as Mia My Cat on Twitter. I purchased the Ticket to Dream so that I would make it back to Africa someday, so here I am. I enjoy Wild Earth very much. Just the experience it brings to everybody, it just helps everybody cope with things.
If you want to go on safari with a Wild Earth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
My favorite part about today is seeing Mariggs, seeing him stalk the waterbuck and seeing the interaction between the waterbuck and him, and he's just an impressive little guy.
Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
It's very exciting to be on a live drive at Juma, to see how things work in the back and to be certainly much closer to the animals.
As one of the industry's best and Fagasa endorsed training institutes, NJ Moorfield Guide College produces professional guides of exceptional caliber and gives students from around the world an incredible experience. NJ Moore offers courses to suit all types of interests. The full-length career course results in a Fagasa accredited qualification and the option of a 6-month internship at one of Moore Family Collection's luxury safari lodges. Shorter courses are a great introduction for those considering a career in field guiding or even a life-enriching experience in your gap year. With spaces still available in July, don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to live your African dream.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at and beyond Pinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on Wild Earth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
So we are still with this battler, female battler there. Sitting on the tree in front of us. I really want to go forward and continue driving, but I might disturb it, so I'm just waiting a little bit more here. I think I will take the risk and try to go a little bit closer and see what happens. I'm driving slowly. Sorry, we're basically driving underneath him. Well, her, because it was a female actually. Okay, so I'm sending you to Lauren, and us will continue.
We have a female leopard. I think it's Moya. I could be wrong. Darby, I'm going to go forward. If it is Moya, this is Darby's first time meeting this lady. He's very excited. Moya's very pale. She's an older leopardess, and she's extremely pale in colour, if that makes sense. So she's quite easy to identify that way. And it appears like there's quite a substantial injury in her back left leg. That's an injury, isn't it? It's not a leaf. Now I'm just going to keep my radio up because we're the only one on lock with her. Let's go forward, Dove. And Moya is a leopardess not from Djuma. We're seeing her a lot now. She appears to be doing what Nsele did at an older age, either shifting her territory or becoming a little bit nomadic for a while and moving around, changing her territory. And it's most likely due to pressure from other female leopards in her area, and she's now spending a lot of time on Djuma. And to be honest, Nsele and Moya are perfect examples of... Let me just get a closer look. Is that an injury? Yeah, I think it is. It's a perfect example of how dynamic territories are. They are not static. They are not going to stay the same. If you meet a territorial leopard like Kalamba, at let's just say 4 to 5 years old, and then you meet her again at, say, 10 years old, her territory will not be the same. It will have shifted, it will have moved, it may have got bigger and then shrunk again. Territories are a sort of very dynamic entity for these animals. It's just that humans like to think in boxes. We always like to think in boxes, and sometimes we need to slap ourselves across the face to get out of those boxes. territory will depend on so many different things. Resources, pressure, neighbours, competitors, how many females are around, how many males are around, habitat. I think it's definitely Moya. But if I'm wrong, you're welcome to correct me. I've not had the best view of her face yet. Davisiro, are you ready to bundabash? Actually, I'm not going to bundabash just yet. Last resort. Can pop her nose in though. So Davi, that's another lady to add to your list. Are you happy? This is almost exactly where we had her the last time. Oh, here we go. We've got a nice gap in here. Well, it was a nice gap. To the quarry. This was exactly where we had it the last time, at this quarry. And this quarry is where we used to have Hosanna and Shongile a lot when they were youngsters. They used to love it in here. I was obviously not around, but I've heard all the memories. Let's just stay put. I'm almost sure she's going to pop out here on the embankment of this quarry. Davi, I've been very naughty and holding on to the brake. I'm going to let go of the brake. There we go, and there she is. Got her? James, Richard, and everybody, thank you. It's Moya. You see what I mean? She's very pale. Some leopards can be quite sort of gingery, quite rufous, quite amber, quite golden. But Moya, I personally feel, is a very pale leopardess, very white. She's beautiful, absolutely stunning. And it's amazing how she's always in this area. The last time we had her, she moved from here all the way to Treehouse Dam. So let's hope she's not going to take us in for that journey again. She crosses in from the south, Hoffman's area. She comes north. Okay, Davi's wanted me to move forward. Let's do this. What you looking for, girl? Many of you are saying she is gorgeous. Absolutely, they all are. I always say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I don't think anyone on this planet would say that. Oh, thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. She's gone stationary. Now, we call her Moya. I've always known her as Moya, especially when, people talk about her in this area. But she is also sometimes called the Nanga female, as in Nanga. Some people call her the Nanga female. Some people call her the Moya female. And she was born in 2009, sorry. 2009, not 19. And she's an older leopardess, 12. And just to get the basics out the way, she has got a spot pattern of 3-3, if any of you haven't seen her before, but she has made quite a few appearances on Wild Earth now. And her name comes from Zulu, meaning wind or spirit. But of course, although we see it's interesting, she's on Djuma, she's coming to Djuma. Really, I mean, is it that interesting? She doesn't know that she's crossed a boundary line. She doesn't know she's crossed Gowrie Main. We are using a temporary camera, everyone. In case you are wondering what is happening sometimes to Wendy's visuals. So the cameramen are getting used to this camera, and it's definitely not as adequate as the other one. Just in case you're judging hard right now. The other one broke, and it's getting fixed. So temporary measures all round. But it still means we can go live. Okay, we're going to try and reposition because I'm holding my brake once again. And we are going to send you guys over to JP at the waterhole.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk at Bridlands. We're still with our hippo. We're just enjoying the sunrise and looking at what he's getting up to and waiting for it to become a little bit more lighter. I mean, we want to go and see what tracks are coming in and out from around the dam, and then we'll start our walk from there. Meanwhile, if you wonder why this hippo is so calm and quiet, he's inside water, and that's generally where they feel safe. So quite often, if we do find that hippos are not happy with us and our presence, they'll quite often open their mouth, show their teeth, and throw their head out of the water to tell us that they're not happy with our presence. So yesterday we were talking about animals as well as how they also utilize personal space and how they've got distinct personal space zones. And that will tell us a lot about what the animal is thinking and doing at that moment. And based on that, it will determine how close we can get to an animal. So the first zone that they normally have is a comfort zone. And then from there on, as we go closer, they are in our alert zone. And at the moment, this guy's alert over us. If we still continue, then we go into their warning zone, where they will tell us to move off. And eventually, if we do go closer, we'll enter a critical zone, which when they most likely will become aggressive towards us. Just for a question that came through from Leopard Lover. Good morning, Leopard Lover. Based on what will happen if there's another bull that comes into this area, they do not happily coincide in water bodies. So a few years ago, I was walking on the Manetsi area, and there was a bull that was pushed out, and he was forced to lie on the bank away from the main group of hippos. We unfortunately startled him, and typically being a hippo running straight back into water for safety, he came under attack of the dominant bull that was in that pool. And it didn't end off so well for him. He managed to get up there and then move off. So they do quite often attack one another. We also find that dominant bulls will force out younger males to ensure that they don't mate with the individuals in that pool, and then they will be forced out. And quite often these young individuals are full of bite marks, as they've got massive teeth, which is sometimes up to 70 centimeters above the gum line, which actually rubs over one another. And then on top of that, they've got incredibly strong jaws, which can inflict a serious amount of injury on one another. Also find it quite interesting is that they don't really suffer from any forms of infection when they do have any injuries.
Yeah, welcome back with me. We're making our way towards the northern boundary of Juma. We're hoping to find any evidence of Davon Gumi, but now I did find a giraffe walking. It will be a bit difficult as he's quite mobile. Just stop, maybe he will stop. Sometimes the nose of the car make them a bit shy. I have the feeling most of the giraffe are very dark here. I'm just going to reposition a little bit forward. I think it will be better. There we go. So it's currently feeding on a green thorn, or commonly known as well as a torchwood tree. It is beautiful to see giraffe in the light of the morning. This will be a male. Yeah, so I saw 3 giraffe in total here since I'm here, and all of them was very dark. This one is a little bit less dark than the one we saw yesterday, but it is still quite dark, with beautiful patterns actually. Yeah, so they will spend the day feeding. They get a lot of moisture from the leaf, and then when they have the occasion, we will go drink. They will go drink.
She's still here, thank goodness. After the journey that she took us on the last time. I don't think I'm quite ready for that, to be honest. I also think with bashing through the bush, and this is just my opinion, you're all sort of welcome to disagree or have your own opinion, but you have to be selective about it. Tristan and I regularly
Morning stations. Any update for article?
Good morning, yours. You have to be selective. It's situational dependent when you want to bash through the bush. I think if you as a guide make a judgment call that you have been with this leopard enough, you've spent 2 hours and they're going to go and make their way through the bush, then that's more than enough. You can let them go. Of course, if maybe they're hunting or they're doing something interesting, it's good to follow so that we can be observers. But other than that, I do think you have to make your own judgment call based on the situation and based on your experience. It can also be personal as well in terms of sometimes you know that leopard. We all know Kalamba very well. And of course, we know her behavior. We know when she feels... No, that's anthropomorphizing too much. We know when she just wants to go on her own little mission. Kalamba will let you spend time with her, but once she gets up and decides she's going to weave through the thicket, she's made that decision. And sometimes it's best to just leave them. Same with lions, same with dogs, same with hyenas. Same with elephants. It's not just the mammalian predators. I think Davi's fallen in love. I'm a little bit worried. He's got heart-shaped eyes in the back here. Janet, good question. I'm not sure. I remember the day that James, Davi and I decided we couldn't go live. There was some issue with something. something technical. So we decided, let's go on a bumble to Simbambili. This is when we just got traverse of Simbambili. We still have traverse, I'm afraid, but we're having lots of signal problems. Anyway, we thought, let's go and explore. So the three of us just went, and it was such good fun because we were not live, no pressure. We just went, not expecting to see anything. We had a great time, and on our way back, James said, leopard. When we looked at this leopard, she just had one eye. And we thought, we don't know this leopard. We don't know who she is. And eventually we pieced it together. It was in Nsele that we know now. And that was the day Nsele decided to leave the west. We followed her all the way up the fire break of Simbambili. We followed her crossing Triple M, heading towards the sort of Sydney's Dam area. And she's never gone back. So we at that point in time thought Nsele's gone nomadic. She's an older leopardess. There's obviously far too much pressure in the west.
So fresh from Gonzo.
It's a lot of females, and she's obviously decided to leave. But Nsele's now sort of positioned herself and established herself in Buffelshoek. I'm still not 100% sure of her entire territory, but it appears, from what I hear, we don't traverse Buffelshoek too much, that she's still scent marking and she's still calling, she's still showing territorial behaviour. So I can't 100% confirm this, but it appears she's just now set up a new territory. Buffelshoek, to be honest with you, is quite vacant of female leopards. There's space there. So has she just given up her old territory and started again? Is she actually nomadic, but she's just still calling? That wouldn't make much sense to me. She's been mating. She's been seen mating with Tingana a while back, recently with Mr. Handsome Klangula, and it appears now she may be pregnant. Is she about to give birth to another litter? So, Janet, that was a long-winded answer, but we could not possibly say at this time. It comes down to behaviour. We would need to see if Moya was sort of furiously scent calling. We would need to scent marking. And then, of course, calling. We would really need to analyse her behaviour, and I don't think we've seen her enough to be able to say that. Oh my goodness, you're beautiful. But possibly she could be going nomadic, although she's not that old, she's only 12. She's in perfect condition, look at her. So I wonder if there's just a bit too much pressure and she's just shifting. She's testing the waters on Juma. Who's around Juma? And you know the two main female leopards that we see on Juma are Tlalamba and Shadulu. And both Tlalamba and Shadulu sort of clash territory-wise at around Treehouse Dam. Now, if Sabui's, who has given birth, is rather occupied right now, maybe that southern section from sort of the Mulwati up to Twin Dams and then go straight west to Treehouse Dam and then straight west to Triple M. Maybe that band at the south is vacant, and I wonder if that's what Moya's thinking about filling. Maybe Sabui will give it up. She has to make space for Langa. Langa has to fit into this somehow. Shasha will disperse. Shasha's got to find his own feet or his own paws, shall we say, but in a different way from what Langa has to. I find territories absolutely fascinating. Really fascinating stuff. But in answer to the question, I'm really not sure with Moya. I think we're really going to have to sort of try and analyse where she's coming from and her behaviour while she's here. She will most likely be quiet, though. She's still got to figure out who her neighbours are. Being a holder of a territory is an act of social dominance, is selfish behaviour. And it's sort of designed to ensure priority for yourself over access to resources. You are claiming an area and you're saying, hey everybody, this area, this land, doesn't belong to the landowners Yuri and Pippa. No, it's mine now. You're claiming it for yourself. It's selfish. And in order for you to benefit from this, you have got to patrol, claim it, use a lot of energy to make sure that no one else claims your territory. I've got 2 vehicles on their way, everyone, which is why I am keeping my radio up. And it's not just mammals that are territorial. You will find all sorts of organisms territorial. I'll give you a really good example in just a moment. Did you catch that name, Dov?
I couldn't.
It sounded like human.
Yeah. So
Human? Are you a human? Maybe you're not. Maybe you're an alien. Oh, it is human. I got that right. Human, you're asking, do leopards sleep in trees? And are they mostly nocturnal? Affirm and affirm. Affirmative. They can sleep in trees, yes. It's a great resting spot. Big fat branches for stability. Great vantage point. But it's not a case that they sleep every night in trees. Absolutely not. And what I've noticed, and again, this is just a personal observation, is that it's a personality thing. Without trying to anthropomorphize too much, I've noticed some leopards just love to be in trees. And some leopards not so much. Some leopards I've never seen in a tree. So I think it's a preference thing, but they absolutely can. And yes, they are primarily nocturnal. That's when they conduct most of their activities. But as you can see, it's daytime. I don't actually know the time. Let me check. 7:20. And Moya's awake and she's grooming and she's active. So there's seasonal shifts. But yes, they are classified as primarily nocturnal. So Moya is being a star, and I hope she is going to sit here and go absolutely nowhere.
As the sun goes down in Africa, for many, the day has just begun. Wild Earth is ready for the next brand new concept, and this time it's at night. A specialized thermal drone will take to the air under the cover of darkness. As it flies above the bush, it will be searching for hotspots on the ground.
We might have a leopard on the far right of this group of hyena.
The ground team will then be called to identify the animal.
it is a warthog. That's exactly what it is. So there we go. It was a warthog that was running away from... Sorry, Warty.
And of course, it is at this time when the big cats are on the hunt.
Yeah, James just head a little bit more left.
Okay, Gavi, I'm going to go north around on Impala Road.
Okay, the lions are on the move, guys. Lions are chasing the wildebeest.
Wild Earth is looking for a sponsor who can help turn this show to a long-running series. If you are interested, then head over to our website to find out more. wildearth.tv/sponsors. Across southern and East Africa, the Endangered Wildlife Trust works tirelessly to save species, protect critical habitats, and benefit people. Join the EWT in returning wildlife to the wild. Go to ewt.org.za to find out more and follow our socials to see how you can get involved. Protecting forever, together.
I love being a cam up for Wild Earth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Welcome back with me. We did a bit of drive in the northern section of Juma, hoping to find some tracks, but unfortunately nothing. So we're currently making our way back, and we might go check quickly Galago Pan and Gari Dam. I've been driving very slowly and trying to look everywhere. But no, not much luck for us this morning at the moment. Very nice that Lauren found a leopard. That put the pressure a little bit down, at least for leopards. And I would love to find one myself as well. Looks like it's going to be a little bit cooler this week. But the weather should be good. Always sunny most of winter. Jasmine, you would like to know if cooler weather is better for predators? Yes, indeed. The reason is it will stay cooler a longer time, so they will be mobile a longer time during the day. So, for example, if at 8 o'clock in the morning it starts getting warm, they will stop and lie in the shade. But when it's cooler during the day, they will be walking until a bit later, maybe 10 o'clock. So it is better. Because obviously when it gets warm for the predators, they just want to lie in the shade and wait until the weather cools down. Saying that, some of them like to move also in the heat. We found ourselves some nyalas there. So a bit hidden in the bush. There we go, so some female nyalas. I don't see any male at the moment, I see 4 female nyalas. They like to stay normally in dense areas, such as this one. So they eat mainly leaves, but they eat grass as well. Well, I saw them eating some grass on people's lawn in the bush. I can see some at the back are eating grass and some are eating leaves. So medium-sized antelope or mixed feeders generally, such as impalas, nyalas. It is very quiet and peaceful here. It seems very relaxed, so I don't think there's any big danger around unless they're being stalked and can't see the predator. Okay, it is not the best visual. Maybe we should continue and check Galago Pan. They are beautiful antelope. Okay, so we will continue and we will send you to JP who found some tracks.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. We're just looking at the area around the dam to see which tracks we can find for this morning. So yesterday we did find the tracks of a lioness over here and we're hoping to see her again. But so far no luck, but what we did find is the tracks of a hyena. So if you have a look over here, this is the main pad of a hyena over here, and here we get the toes over here. And one of the things how we separate hyena tracks from cat tracks is that they only have got two little lobes at the back over here at the main part of the pad compared to that of cats having three lobes. We also see, with the exception of cheetah, that no cats actually have nails that leaves marks on the track itself as they retrack their nails. But with hyena, you can always see the tip of a nail marking. And when we look at the toes, they've got this typical kidney-shaped toes over here. And here we can also see the hind foot. So here we've got the front foot versus hind foot. You can see it's considerably smaller, the hind foot. And one of the reasons why they've got such massive front feet is to support that heavy head and heavy front quarters, but also to enable to pick up large pieces of prey and then run off with that large piece of prey at a kill to minimize competition and the risk of being exposed to other predators such as lion when there is a large carcass. And they'll sometimes drag that piece of chunk of carcass away over several kilometers. I once followed lions that dragged, hyenas that dragged a quarter lion carcass for over 7 to 8 kilometers. We're going to continue and go and see if we can maybe find the tracks of our lioness. And in the meanwhile, let's go and see what Lauren is up to.
Our dearest Moya is still being very obliging. She has moved, but she's still just resting in the quarry, which is a really ideal spot for us. It's a sort of nice open area. And I was talking about territory earlier because it's really one of my favorite topics because it involves so many different aspects of an animal's cognitive ability, but also their sensory world. And those are my two favorite topics. Love to talk about those things. And the essence of any sort of territorial behavior is that an animal defends it. A territory is not a home range. A territory sits in a home range. You've got to defend it, otherwise it's not yours. You can't say quarantine is mine, everyone, but you're not doing anything about it. And what you have to do about it is basically you've got to advertise it as yours. You've got to say, hey everybody, quarantine is mine. Keep out. I'm fierce and I'm ferocious and I'm from Scotland. So you've got to advertise it. And that's exactly what birdsong is. Birdsong's beautiful to our ears. It sounds like a melody. It's gorgeous. But actually that's the bird saying, hey guys, I'm awake, I'm alive, and this is still my territory. Keep out. So birdsong to another bird is maybe not so joyous to one's ears. To another bird, it might sound quite scary or aggressive. It's all about perspective. It's not just about calling, it's also about patrolling. We've mentioned that. And it can also be about aggressive eviction of any intruders. If someone is really coming into your territory and you don't want it, you can say, hey, get out. It didn't sound very aggressive, did it? But it was supposed to be. I don't know if that could be territorial. But the perfect example, and I've mentioned this before, it's my favorite example, and I'm going to mention it again because it gets you to come out of this human box and the leopard box that we're in right now and think of other organisms. So limpets. Limpets are basically snails, and they just live on the rocks, on tide lines. And they have a muscular foot, just like the African giant land snail. They've got that sort of suction motion with that muscular foot, and that's what keeps them in place. So that's how they can defy gravity. Now, they move slowly, believe it or not. I guess you could call it crawling. They crawl across the rock, and they use their tongue, the radula, And that's how they get food. They scrape this tongue across the rocks to get delicious algae. Algae. I also drink algae. Spirulina. Anyway, I'm not a limpet. But they're territorial. So these tiny little limpets that are moving so slowly and scraping algae off rocks are territorial. And this tiny little patch of territory that they have, they're defending it. And they need to ensure other limpets don't come to get their algae. So territory owners will actually shove intruders and try and dislodge them from the rock so they take a suicidal plunge into the ocean and limpet no more. So you will see these tiny little organisms shoving one another using that muscular foot. Whoever has some more sort of powerful foot will then shove the other one off and kill them. They're trying to kill one another. Limpets are territorial. We just don't think about that. We think about leopards and lions being territorial. Birds are territorial. Most birds, at least. So my point of that lovely little story is that territory has been described in hundreds of different species, from limpets, crickets, even butterflies. Butterflies can be territorial. Ants, wasps, bees, spiders. And they're very territorial of their webs. Of course, they made them. Frogs, salamanders, turtles. Turtles can be very territorial of their reef. My goodness, turtle fights in the ocean is really something to see. Alligators, lizards, many species of reef fish. If you approach an anemone fish sitting on that anemone, it's going to bite your head and it's not fun. Trust me. You'll bleed underwater from a tiny little bite from an anemone fish because you've came too close to their anemone. What I'm trying to show you here is just diversity. When we think of territory, we shouldn't Well, Moya's obviously bored of my topic of conversation here, clearly. But we shouldn't just think of the mammals. We shouldn't just think of leopards and lions, which we do naturally because we relate to mammals more closely than anything else because we are mammals. But when you think about territory, just try to think of all the other organisms, big or small, that are territorial, and how do they keep their territory? How do they defend it? You don't hear a spider roaring or sawing. Imagine a little spider going, ho, 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 ho. That was quite good. No, you don't, because they've got other ways of defense. Most insects have a chemical defense. If you ever sit on a reef or go diving or snorkeling, just watch the reef, watch the fish. Very territorial over their tiny little patch of reef. They're trying to keep others out. And with territory, naturally, for males, comes females. And males get all too protective over their females, as we know. And Avi, what are you thinking of this view? Are you loving it?
Pretty uninspiring.
I'm trying to think if we can possibly maneuver here. Zutia.
Moya basking in all the adoration.
Moya is basking in all the admiration. She's loving it.
Adoration. Like it all.
Oh, adoration, admiration. Same. She's loving it, and I'm also loving it, because the last time we had Moya, she took us on a very hectic game drive, shall we say. Hectic. South Africans use hectic for everything. This wind is hectic. This traffic is hectic. This juice is hectic. Everything is hectic, and unfortunately it's now slipped its way into my vocabulary. This game drive is hectic. I don't know why they describe everything as hectic. Why is that, Davi?
It's a good question.
It's a very good question. It's a good word, but not applicable to everything. Okay, we're going to try and reposition because this is hectic, and hopefully Moya's not going anywhere. We are sitting here with a beautiful female leopardess. Not the best visuals one has ever seen, but it's still a leopard called Moya. She's gone flat in the grass because naturally she's probably been active all night, walking, patrolling, calling, hunting. So now it's time to snooze, and we're lying here in a quarry watching her. So we are just going to sit here for a few minutes, enjoy watching our snoozy leopard and listening to the sounds of the bush. Isn't it beautiful? I'm feeling snoozy watching her, but we're going to sit here and not go anywhere.
So we just arrived at Kalahari Dam. Not much happening, except for some hippos. Probably the same hippos we saw last night grazing not too far from the dam. We can see only one at the moment, but there's a few of them underneath the water. But it is quite quiet here. There's a beautiful grey heron on the right side of the dam. We'll try to see if we can see it. There we go, on that side. Beautiful birds. Currently trying to catch some fish, I assume. You can see lifting the head now to get a better visual. Yeah, so I think we will make our way towards Twin Dam next and see what we can find there. It is very quiet. Okay, let's not waste too much time in the morning while it's still cool, and see what we can find a bit further ahead. sorry, it's a bit bouncy here. It is always exciting to be out on drive, even if we don't see very exciting animal at the moment. But it is always nice to drive. It's nice and fresh. The colors are beautiful. But of course we would like to show you the most incredible sighting, so this is why we do that. There was a bird there which was quite interesting. It will be difficult. There was two thickneys, which you see mainly at night generally, but they were just standing there, so they are a bird type called thickneys. There's the spotted thickney and the water thickney. This was water thickneys. I hope the sighting of this female leopard with Lauren is still nice. I would love to see that leopard one day. Some impalas in front of us. Sorry. Human, you would like to know if leopards are mostly solitary? Yes, they are solitary animals, unless they are mating, so then they will mate, obviously the male will mate with a female and they will spend some time together for a few days, or if the female obviously have a cub, so or more cubs, then they will be together. But otherwise they will spend more time alone, and yeah, so they also defend territories, both male and female. But yes, they are mostly solitary. The only true social cats in the bush are lions. We're still making our way towards Twin Dam. Hopefully there will be a few things there to look and maybe explain. I don't think the Talamatis are here. I heard some reports that they might be on the Manyaliti border, which is close to Buffelshoek. But we will send you to Lauren in the meantime, and we will make our way to Twin Dam.
We have repositioned, and I'm not going to lie, it's not the best repositioning we've ever done, but we can still see rosettes. We'll try again, just in a tricky spot.
There's no view. No view.
Davi, this is Davi's idea, and he thinks it's the best idea, so we'll just go with it. Going back to territory, there's a really good example, and that is, of course, ants. All species of ants live in colonies. And in the colony, one or a few reproductive females lay all the eggs for that entire colony. Similar to termites, I guess. Termites are not ants. Ants are not termites. Similar looking, I guess, to the human eye, but they're not the same. And most of the females within that colony are sterile workers, so they can't reproduce. But they will perform lots of important tasks, such as constructing a nest, cleaning, brood care, food gathering, and ultimately defense, because most ants are territorial and they will defend a really large territory surrounding the nest. Why is that so successful for the ant? Because there's many of them. So if you think about it, they can defend against intruders because there's so many workers and soldiers that are going to defend that colony. Whereas Moya here, or any other leopard, they only have themselves. They can only defend their territory alone. Even when a female has offspring, the offspring don't assist in defending the territory, no. Even the dominant male, he's defending his own territory that she sits within, but he's not defending hers against other females. She has to do that, and she has to do it alone. Whereas if you're an ant, there's lots of you to do it. Makes it a lot easier. You're not going to spend as much energy. If you're a limpet and you're trying to deal with your algal lawn, you've only got yourself. Other limpets want your lawn. They want your algae. It's a lot easier if you're in a colony or a communal species. Everyone can defend it. And if you think about it from a reproductive point of view, as a reproductive unit, a colony can suffer loss, and it's not going to be too detrimental. So they can lose sort of a few hundred workers, but it's not really going to affect their energetic cost of the entire colony or the reproductive output of the entire colony at all. Still going to be able to defend themselves. Still going to be able to reproduce. Whereas Moya here, if she's injured, she's going to really struggle to defend her own territory. And that's why generally when you see a leopard-hyena interaction, the leopards do flee more often than not. I get asked this question all the time, who would win, a leopard or a hyena? But the reason leopards do tend to flee is because they cannot afford to risk injury. They will not be able to defend their territory, and then thus it's very problematic for survival and reproductive output. Bigger territories, more access to resources, more chance of reproductive success. It's all related to fitness at the end of the day. Moya, darling, would you like to pop your head up? No, she's not going to put her head up. I think she's snoozing deeply. As she should. She's probably been walking around all night. And this is why it's hard to find leopards sometimes when they go flat like that. Shantae, it all depends on when they become sexually mature. And we touched on this yesterday when we were talking about mareeps, and not all, both male and female leopards will disperse from their mother at the same time. It really does depend on the mother and, again, external factors. But generally speaking, females become more independent from their mother sooner than male leopards do. So sort of an average figure, and again, this is just average, is that the females will sort of become independent from mom at about 18 months. Male leopard, about 2 years. But of course, that's just a general statistic, if you like. And for a female leopard, she will then take on a section of her mother's territory. It's almost handed to her. Here, girl, you take this part of the territory. I'm going to leave you to actively defend this. This is yours. And I'm going to then shift a little bit and have my own territory. But don't be fooled. Don't come into my territory. It's still two separate territories. If you look at Kalamba and Tandi, they don't share a territory. They each have their own. But because Tandi is Kalamba's mother, she gave a section of her territory, which is the largest portion of Juma, to her daughter. And then you're on your own, girl. That's pretty much how it works. But they tend to become sexually mature at around 3 years of age. But this doesn't mean that's when they're going to have cubs. It's a process. It's all under sort of biological control, just like puberty in humans. There'll be hormonal changes which will then affect behavior and biology. She'll start scent marking, she'll start calling, she'll come into a pseudo-estrus, then she'll come into a full estrus, then she'll start mating. This all happens with an external cue, and that cue is territory. It all comes down to territory when they start to sort of become sexually mature. Once they've got their territory set up and it's sort of official and they're established, got enough access to resources, enough access to males, then they're ready to mate. Then estrus is going to come into full swing, then they'll be ready to have their first litter. So although they're sort of sexually mature around 3 years, sometimes it's 2.5, which is very young, only then will they sort of be ready to start mating. So on average, it's normally around 4 years of age that you'll see a female leopard with her first litter. Okay. I think we are going to try and reposition soon and get some better views of our gorgeous female leopard.
South African Guide of the Year has been an event that we have all been looking forward to. However, South Africa has gone into lockdown level 4, which means we will no longer be able to hold the ceremony this week. The assessments in the bush will still carry on, however the awards will take place later in the year when it is safe to do so. We are looking after those who look after our natural world. Thank you for your understanding. We really do appreciate your support.
As one of the industry's best and Fagasa endorsed training institutes, NJ Moorfield Guide College produces professional guides of exceptional caliber and gives students from around the world an incredible experience. NJ Moore offers courses to suit all types of interests. The full-length career course results in a Fagasa accredited qualification and the option of a 6-month internship at one of Moore Family Collection's luxury safari lodges. Shorter courses are a great introduction for those considering a career in field guiding or even a life-enriching experience in your gap year. With spaces still available in July, don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to live your African dream.
My name is Lauren and I'm currently working in Juma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favourite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
We have a baby pangolin, a baby pangolin. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Yeah, so we did pass Twindam, but it was very quiet, so we continued. I don't think it was necessary to stop. Try to drive a little bit more while it's still cool. Drive a little bit more while it's still that wood road on the southern east section of Juma, going towards Cheetah Cut Line. I never know, maybe Tandy came back in this area, so we're trying our luck here. The grass is still quite long, so if you have to look very carefully when you drive, because they might be lying flat in the grass and it's difficult to see the predators. The best way to find them is obviously on the road. The tree, it's a bit easier as well. I apologize if we are doing a lot of driving, but we're putting most of the chances on our side. You would like to know if it's difficult, actually unaffected when you see a ant. It's quite tough to see, depending of the kill. So when you see the ant, it's very exciting, and yeah, might see a kill, and then if the kill happen, of course you're very happy, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult to watch the prey die. Especially with wild dogs, because wild dogs will start feeding on the prey before the prey is dead. So it can get a bit emotional, but it's part of the bush, the nature. Of course, the predators need to eat to survive, so they have to kill. But it is very nice to see a hunt and a kill. Even if you're watching a hunt and it doesn't finish on a kill, it's always impressive to see the predators run and the prey as well run away. I'm going to just stop right there. There is a lilac-breasted roller that's in front of us. I don't know if the sun is in the right position. I don't think we will be able to see the nice colors. Yeah, it's a bit dark. But they are beautiful birds, lilac-breasted roller. They are quite common here, and I'm sure lots of you like to photograph them. Unfortunately, it's not a very good lighting, so I think we will continue. I'll try again maybe there. I don't know if it will be possible. But do you think you can get that, Marcelo? Not really. Oh no, too late. Fortunately, it just flew away. Sorry about that. But I'm sure you saw them before. They are very pretty. Okay, so we will keep looking. Hopefully we'll get a bit luckier. In the meantime, we'll send you to Pride Land for more tracks.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. We've took a little walk away from the dam so far this morning. We've been looking at a number of tracks and other field signs, and it's just amazing how many different field signs you can find within a 1 by 1 square meter area. We've got scrubber hares over here, we've got hippopotamus over here, we've got field signs of elephant dung right over there. We've got impala that came through here, as well as a number of dwarf mongoose. But I specifically just want to quickly point out that hippo track and then a few other interesting signs that hippo has left behind. So for those of you that has joined us for the first time, hippos as well as rhinos often get confused with one another. But if you do look at rhino, they've got 3 toes, unlike the hippopotamus that we have over here, which has 4 toes. And just to point out, here's the main part of the foot, and here's the toes 1, 2, 3, and 4, with the 2 central ones nicely bunched up quite close by together. So what we can see, the direction of movement, the toes are pointing in this direction, as well as the dragged soil away from us as that it walked off. Just going to point out to you quickly where he was busy dung spraying. So if we just take a small little walk, and then I'll point this out to you as well. So right over here, we can see this is where he was using that fat little stubby tail of him to spray the dung from side to side. And as mentioned before, there's a number of reasons why they do that. If it's against water, it's to mark a territory when it comes to bulls. Otherwise, it is also there for the purpose of orientation and navigation. And sometimes they dung shower one another as a dominance signal as well. So I was asked recently if I don't mind to repeat a story that I told a few months ago about hippo dung. And there's an interesting little story where hippo and the crocodile used to live together, and where hippo used to still feed on fish in those days. But then the hippo decided that he's much bigger than the crocodile and he can eat everything that he wanted to. And eventually there was no fish left inside that dam. And the crocodile went back to its maker and it said, "Maker, look at how greedy the hippopotamus is," as the hippo ate all the fish. The hippo was warned and told that he should stop eating all the fish and that he should share all the resources with other animals too. But he didn't listen, and he continued, and eventually no more fish in the dam, and the crocodile went back to the maker, and the maker of all the animals was so upset with the hippo and said to him, "Now you will feed only on grass for the remainder of your life." And to prove that he's only eating on grass, he has to now come every night, spray his dung, so that the maker can see the next morning that there's no fish bones, but only grass in the feces that's been left by the hippopotamus. So we're going to continue. Let's go and see what else we can go and find. And look at what Cedric is up to.
Yeah, so we're making our way towards Tswalu, but I didn't see nothing on Ledwood Road. So we're currently on Chitakat line. So maybe we'll go down there and check the dam. There's some more tugs there. Let's go have a look at them. Hopefully they will not run away when we get there. Sorry about that, a bit of a sharp stop there. You can see the hair on the back there, which is reason. Not sure why. Normally when we get a bit irritated, what can happen? Oh, this one might just have very long hair. So that's a female and too young. Trying some fun. I think what we are doing now in this burn area is to try to find the new grass growing out. So they basically eat mainly grass, but actually they can eat lots of other things such as fruit, even meat. There have been recorded of warthog feeding on meat. You can see them on there, one on his knees there. Generally, when the grass like that burn before the rain, it is very good. Because as soon as the rain starts in November, there's very green grass coming out, which is very nice for all the grazers, obviously. But like especially wildebeest love to eat this fresh grass that come after a nice burn area in summer. See, they use their nose sometimes also to dig and find a bit more food. Okay, I think we will let them be. I'm just going to check something quickly. Not sure where Lorraine is. I don't think she's on Tswalu, so I think we'll cross to Tswalu. Just check the dam. And then maybe drive to Simoya. Okay, now we decided to change our plan. I think we're the only vehicle here, so it's better to stay around Juma. So let's drive on Gary Main and see what we can find on that side. I think Lorraine have a little issue with the car. So I will be the only one from Juma being live at the moment. Okay, so we'll continue. Maybe we'll see if we can find Moya as well, if Lorraine is leaving the area. Maybe to have a little look at this leopard. It would be nice for me to see and show you as well.
Good morning and welcome back onto Bushwalk. We've been out here for a while. This morning started off with a very good hippo sighting, and we're waiting for things to warm up a little bit. And hopefully there'll be a few more animals coming down to the dam to come and drink. We're specifically hoping for elephants. So meanwhile, we've been looking at tracks and other field signs. One of the animals that we did find a track of is a hippopotamus that has moved through here. So for those of you that haven't seen a hippo track before, this is the main part of the pad, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 toes that you'll see over here, which is one of the characteristics that differentiates it from rhino, which only has 3 toes. So quite often we mention about direction of movement when you want to determine where an animal is moving. We do know that the toes are pointing this way, but also just to confirm movement of direction, we can see how the sand has been flicked up as this animal has moved. And quite often when we see hippos, we also see them shuffling. And when they shuffle, they create these little middlemans or tramline tracks where the sand gets pushed into the center, which is another classical telltale sign of hippo. Some of the other things that we did find over here, these little grass-like pellets. This is made by scrub hare, which is one of our hare species which we find in South Africa, the other being Cape hare. It's often very soft pellets, they break up very easily, and the reason why is because they feed on their food twice. So what we find of hares is that they will have day feces as well as night feces. So the day feces, that's re-eaten, re-ingested, so that all the B vitamins as well other nutrients can be reabsorbed, while the night feces is this that's best been discarded at any given point and does not get re-eaten again. There's quite a few different species of animals that will re-eat their dung to gain nutrients from that. And this also includes many of the different species of rodents. We also sometimes find that species such as elephant as well as zebra, the young will eat the dung of the mother so that they can obtain the necessary bacteria to assist with the fermentation of the food in their stomachs.
Davi and I are just admiring the spectacular winter landscape around. All the rusts and goldens, yellows and greens, but we can't actually go anywhere. Moya has gone somewhere. Wendy has not. We can't steer. The car is moving, but she's not able to steer. So we're in a little bit of trouble, everyone. Cedric, I believe, is on the way. He will hopefully be able to catch up with Moya, so at least we can spend the rest of the morning with her. But Davi and I are not going anywhere. Marcel is coming to rescue us. Do not fret. But in case we disappear, that's where we've gone. Nowhere. My goodness. The amount of issues. But we fight through them. Poor old Wendy. We're going to have to take her to Opa. Opa the legend. He is the man. He's a wizard. We should put him on camera one day so that you can all meet Opa. He's just the best of the best. Any problem, Opa fixes them. Really, I'm not joking. And he normally has a good old chuckle when he sees us being towed. So that is just my update of Wendy. Hopefully we'll see you later, but who knows? And I will do my very best to try and get Cedric into this sighting.
Yeah, so we're making our way to Moya now on Gary Main. I'm not exactly sure where Moya is, but I will try my best to find her. It's not very far off the road here. So it's a bit bumpy here. Checking on the map. I think we might have to turn around just in front here. I think we might have to turn right just in front here. So I will try my best to find it quite quickly, but please bear with me if it takes me a while to get the location. Just checking quickly if I'm on the right road. I'm not sure if it's on the right hand side. Oh. Should be around here. There we go. Yeah, we found them. I just need to find. Lorraine for Cedric.
Cedric, are you copying?
I do. Can you please tell me your location? I can't see Marcel at the moment.
Cedric, you drove past us earlier. The Moya's mobile, she's west. I think you're going to have to turn around and contact yours. Drive west on the fire break.
Okay. Copy. Thank you. I apologize for that. I didn't get the info that Moya started to be mobile. So I'm just going to turn around and drive on this fire break in the western direction. Looks like all the leopards want to run away from me. Sorry, I was talking on the radio just to make sure that I was at the right location.
You can back them in, but take the fire break. They'll remain, fire break.
Yeah, from the fire break. We do it. That road that's going.
Sorry about that.
When you check over your walls, there is a little pen next to it. That road is going to remain. What's that road called?
Shibama.
In the corner of Shibama.
Just try.
Down to the house stand.
Copy. Cedric, take your next right.
Yeah, I apologize for the radio there, just trying to make sure we're going in the right direction. Looking at the map. Maybe I should have turned right there actually. It is quite difficult to find the bearing when you are new.
Just go with the anyway?
I think I might have to turn around.
Okay, thank you. Now we're leaving here. Yeah, we'll see you out there.
Will you look to me on here?
Please bear with me, I apologize for that. Okay, we're trying to relocate Moya quickly. In the meantime, I will do my best.
The
annual Safari Guide of the Year competition aims to create awareness for those men and women who dedicate their lives to tourism and wildlife. This year's event will be held at Marataba, a breathtaking privately managed section of the Marakele National Park in South Africa's Limpopo province. In celebration of this, Wild Earth and Marataba Luxury Lodges are offering all explorers a chance to win a 3-night stay at Marataba Safari Lodge for you and a friend. In addition to a spectacular land-based safari, Marataba Luxury Lodges offer an opportunity for guests to cruise peacefully along the Matlabas River, watching the animals as they drink and wallow. The lodge offers you a chance to lie by the pool or enjoy a spa treatment, and one night could be spent sleeping out under the stars in a luxurious treehouse. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the 30th of June, and it could be you heading off on a long-awaited getaway. Wild Earth Explorers, it's in your nature. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, encourages people to care for the earth. Through innovative projects, they aim to reverse the serious issues that we face in the world today. One of these projects is Green Coast, a proudly South African award for sensitive and well-managed coastal sites. This sustainability project protects our national coastlines while providing unemployed youth with a love for their environment and a hope for the future. WESA is a membership and volunteer-supported organisation. Every supporter is helping to change the only earth we have. Visit our website to see how you can help care for our earth.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially subalterns and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
Yeah, so I managed to find the sighting. She was very interested in a little duiker that was running around now. And it looked like that she might be in the mood to hunt. That would be quite nice to see. She might maybe go have a drink. She wants to go lie in the long grass there, so it's difficult to see. Maybe she wants to hide herself a bit and wait if anything come drink at this little water hole on the right hand side. And the visual is not great here. I don't see where I can go to get a better angle. So you see there's a little water hole there, and she wants to go lie in the long grass very close to the water hole, so maybe she's hoping that something might come drink and then take this animal by surprise. I'm just waiting a little bit here. She might start moving. So I would like to know, how do you tell if it's a male or female? Obviously, if you know the area, it's quite easy for you to distinguish between male and female, but the characteristic you have to look obviously will be the testicle of the male, which is quite the easier way to see. But male generally have bigger faces with eyes which is more separate from each other. Females tend to have their eyes closer to each other, and also the males are bigger, obviously, and they tend to have a big piece of skin that sometimes hangs from the the neck. But it's not that easy if you don't know the leopard to distinguish between male and female directly. It's not like the lions or the male will have a mane. I would like to reposition, but I'm not sure where. Because she's lying in that long patch of grass now. There's a few cars in front of us. Let me see if I can get a little bit forward. Penny, thank you very much. This is a very nice comment. I really appreciate that. Hopefully, yes, I will get used to it quicker. And yeah, thank you. I really appreciate this comment. Fortunately, now we have a leopard, but the visual is very bad. I don't know if you can see her in the grass there. If we zoom a bit, you might see just part of the stomach there. But yeah, she's lying right in there. I can't go in front of her, obviously, because there's the water hole, and also I will be blocking the other vehicle's views. Maybe I can try to go behind her. I really hope she starts moving and that we can get a better visual. Yeah, so this is the... Sorry, I'm having a question coming. Yeah, I was saying that actually it is the third leopard that I see since I'm here. I saw Tavangumi, then this is Moya and Kara. So it is quite nice to have been able to see 3 of them. Hopefully this afternoon or maybe a bit later find a 4th one. But I've been struggling these past 3 days with leopards. And thank you, Lauren, for letting me join that sighting. Jerome, you would like to know if leopards have the longest whiskers out of the big cats? I'm not 100% sure, but I would say yes, like their whiskers are very, very long. I can't confirm that 100%, but yes, they do have very long whiskers. Of course, these whiskers are very sensitive. It's very important for them when they walk in the bush to feel what's around them as well. So they use the whiskers as a sense organ to feel. So she's lying right in there. I think we're going to stay here for a while and see if she can move and get a better visual. So yeah, for just there's a vehicle leaving the sighting now. Looks like she's going to lie right there in this grass, which is not great. I'm just trying to think if there's a better way to get a better visual, but at the moment I can't see any option unless I go all the way around. Thompson, you would like to know if I think that she's cold? If I got it right. No, I don't think she's cold. I think she's just... What happened is that when we got to the sighting, there was a duiker that ran just past us. So she started to stalk the duiker, but then the duiker left, and I think she came into that grass to maybe camouflage herself a bit better. But I think now she decided to lie on the side. So if she was cold, she would have probably lie in the sun instead of in this grass there. I apologize, I would much prefer giving you a better view of her. Yeah, that shows you how well we can camouflage, huh?
Cedric,
yeah?
Turn on your game drive radio, everyone's trying to contact you.
Okay. Okay, we're going to wait here and we'll send you to JP with his trucks.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk again. We're just busy looking at some tracks as that we're making our way back towards a dam. And we found these little unique, little sharp edge tracks with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes on the back. And these belong to vervet monkeys. So when it comes to separating two species of monkey that we have in South Africa, vervet as well as Simango, it can be very tricky to separate them from one another. However, we know that Simango monkeys does not occur in open savanna, but prefers forested environments. So we'll find them typically against escarpment, against Drakensberg Mountains, where we have pockets of forest. Also quite often find it interesting is that we'll notice that their tails drag. However, I do not see any tail drags on the track today. So one of the defining factors of making a vervet monkey a primate, just like what we are primates, is the opposable thumb. And here we can see in the inside of a track, the opposable thumb right over here. This one is actually much clearer, which enables us to handle food particles as well as perform a number of different tasks when we are closing our hands. The only other species of animals I can think of in Southern Africa that has an opposable thumb is otters, and that enables them to be manipulating their food and different items that they handle. To come back to the tracks of the different primates, we also quite often find baboon in this area, which is considerably larger. And then very seldom we actually find those tiny little tracks of the lesser bush baby or thick-tailed bush baby that marks on the ground as well. So that's pretty much a summary of the 5 different species of primates that we have in South Africa. If we look at the 2 groups of primates, if we compare baboons, monkeys, and to that of the bush babies, first group we consider as higher primates, while the bush babies are considered as lesser primates. They actually belong to a group that's called the prosimians, which means monkey forerunner. I find it also quite interesting as that most of the lesser primates, the eyes are fixed in the skull. They're mostly nocturnal in their behavior as well. And then they've also got a limited amount of facial expressions that they can use. And then with all the Southern African species or South African species are obviously all nocturnal compared to the higher primates, which is all day active, has got a far greater ability to see and express a number of different facial expressions by using their faces to communicate different messages. One of my favorite of all the primates in South Africa is actually a Simango monkey. It's probably by far one of the most beautiful of all the primates that we have. So quite often where I live up in the mountains close by to Campus Ris, I do find these in these pockets of forest. We also find that they're less likely to actually come down to the ground, like that the vervet monkeys will do. They've also got a beautiful sound that they produce compared to the typical call that we hear from vervet monkeys. However, that call that vervet monkeys will produce, it's one of a number of different calls that they can produce, which can indicate a host of different potential threats. And that specific call has actually allowed me to find a large number of leopards as well as predators, as they are very quickly to react to any form of predator that comes through the area. And the group will then very quickly alarm and actually follow the predator as that they're in the trees until that predator is driven out of that area. We're going to continue our walk. We've still got a little bit of a distance to get towards the dam and go and see if anybody has come to have a drink.
So she didn't move, unfortunately. Still lying in this patch of grass. The other vehicle around us also didn't have a very good visual. As you can see, there's this little water hole here. So we are hoping that something come around, and I think this is what she's hoping as well. And maybe try to catch whatever come here. So for once we get to a leopard sighting after a few days. Now this leopard decided to hide. But this is how it is. Just need to be patient. Maybe if Morgan just want to show the tail there, I think you could see just the end of the tail just to see how well camouflage this leopard is. There you go. The tail is generally a bit easier to spot because it is a bit white underneath, which is actually a follow me sign. So basically she's lying, just continuing in that line, in that patch of grass there. You just need to have a bit of patience. She seems very comfortable there though. So we are and we've been driving here a lot the last couple of days. Fortunately we didn't see her, but today it's nice to see her. Just hope that something come drink and we can see some action. Yeah, so we're still waiting at that water hole. It is getting a bit warmer now. The sun is shining nicely, but we are still lying in that patch of grass next to us without very good visual, unfortunately. But I think it's a good thing to wait a while. Don't want to miss the chance to see something interesting happen. I apologize, we don't have much to show you at the moment. Actually, it's just very well camouflaged in that patch of grass. Maya, you would like to know how many hours they rest in the day? Quite a lot. Especially, they will be very highly mobile at night, but during the day they will rest, I would say, from about 9 o'clock until 6 in the afternoon, depending on the season. I don't have an exact number, but it will be less than lions. Lions spend up to 20 hours just lying and doing nothing per day. Leopards are generally more active than lions. So they will be highly mobile at night and early morning, and they will start moving again in the afternoon when it gets cooler. But generally during the day they will lie and do not much. However, they can be very opportunistic, so if even during the heat of the day they're lying somewhere under a tree, for example, and one antelope will pass them, they will definitely try to hunt that antelope if it's not too far. Yeah, it's quite sad. She doesn't want to show herself now. I do think she wants to lie in that patch of grass just to hide herself from any prey coming around. Okay, we're going to send you to JP, who's on a bushwalk.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. So we've been discussing which mushrooms and funguses you can eat and cannot eat a little bit a while ago. And I answered, I prefer not to eat anything because every year there's an expert that makes himself ill. So there's a number of different bacteria out here that we can find. And the main focus is quite often to decompose. Some of those bacteria will have the ability to break down dead plant material. Some of them will be parasitic and live on a live host, while other bacteria have actually employed very interesting relationships where they bonded up with algae. And here's one of those examples. We refer to them as lichens. And what they basically are is a combination of an algae as well as a fungus. And what the fungus does in this relationship, it actually anchors as well as extracts nutrients and minerals from the dead outer layer of the bark and then provide that to the algae, which has the ability to photosynthesize, as no algae has the ability to photosynthesize. We also see quite interestingly is that algae tends to reproduce, for funguses tends to reproduce and then release spores into the air. It's not the only organisms out here that we find that does assist with the breaking down of the dead plant material. Quite often when we start closely looking at trees like this, we'll find that there's tiny little holes that's been bored into the side of a tree, and those are normally longhorned or short-hole boar beetles, which then will assist with breaking down the dead plant material. And then there's also termites, which is probably one of the most important of all the insect species out here in terms of recycling of nutrients and minerals when it comes to breaking down dead plant material. But they also play an equally important role in distributing seeds as well as providing food to a number of different animals, especially when we have large numbers of termites. Which will erupt when it starts raining, and we'll see that a number of birds will feed on these. We also quite often find a number of different field signs where aardvark actually or antbeer will dig open the side of termite mounds and then feed on these termites as a food source. We're going to walk off and see what we can go and find. As we continue our walk, let's go and see what Cedric has on hand.
Yeah, no luck yet. Still lying there. I think she feels quite relaxed there. She might start sleeping actually. There is another vehicle. Sound like the vehicle wants to join us. So maybe that with a noise she might lift her head. That would be nice. Yeah, I think if she's going to spend too much time lying in that patch of grass, we might a little bit later start moving. Christian, thank you very much. You would like to know a bit about my guiding background Yes, I've been qualified since 2014. I did a course which lasts actually from April to December, and then in 2015 I did my backup trail guide, which was in the Sabisen actually. That was quite nice. And then I did that first for myself. I wanted to learn for myself. And then since 2017 I started guiding on private guides, trips for example. And since 2018 I've been guiding quite a lot in the Kruger Park areas, but mainly specialize at the beginning with guests from France. There's not lots of guides that speak French, so I was trying to capitalize on that. Yeah, so I've been guiding mainly in the Kruger region. I'm not one of the most experienced, obviously, as I didn't grow up in South Africa, but I did gather quite a lot of experience by visiting a lot of amount of lodges since I've been in South Africa. And yeah, I like to guide in the Kruger region. I think it's one of the nicest areas to guide, especially for leopard. I definitely still have got to learn, but you know, you never stop learning in the bush. Always have to be humbled and get advice and tips from other guides and grow like that. It is a bit difficult always when you start to guide in a new area, obviously. It takes a bit of time to get used to it. Yeah, I know that I sometimes struggle a bit here, but yeah, I'm trying my best, and I'm actually quite happy of the sighting I got so far with the lions and the leopard and beautiful elephant sighting.
Thank you. Going to be closing on for the morning.
Sorry about that. And yeah, I hope it can just get better. I just need to work a little bit more and I will be fine. Also, it's important to try to have fun with it and not stress too much, because when you start stressing, this is where you tend to not be lucky and then also don't do the right thing. So it's important to decide to do something that you also having fun. So we will still wait here and hopefully she will start moving, but I don't have a lot of hope at the moment.
Hello everyone, my name is Elmarie and I'm very excited about this drive. My husband Kleinhan bought me this Ticket to Dream for my birthday as a present because he knows I watch Wild Earth all the time. I couldn't be more happy. I've never had such a great present in my life before.
If you want to go on safari with a Wild Earth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
Okay, my favorite part about Wild Earth is the characters, and then of course I love the bush and I love Africa, and just the fact that I can follow every day, that's one of my favorite things.
Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
Being on a live drive on Wild Earth is really great because you can actually now smell the bush, see the animals in real life. You have to really make a plan and just do it.
Hi everybody, I'm Tiana, I'm from Johannesburg, and I am one of Wild Earth's biggest fans.
Been watching for 4 years, DG here from the Ozarks.
It's been 4 years for me and I'm not leaving anytime soon.
It's given me a time away from the hassles of the city, and it's given me a connection to a place that has stolen my heart, which is Africa.
Last year we lost our son, and now we're just watching Wild Earth. Love to all you guys.
You are reminding us of the role that we play in nature conservation, each and every one of us. You have reconnected myself to a dream that I had as a child to get involved in nature conservation, and for that I'm really grateful for as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at Wild Earth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Yeah, so she didn't really move. She just turned a little bit more on the stomach now. I just saw it. So it is a bit sad now. Finally found a leopard. Well, join a sighting of a leopard, and then this leopard go hide. But that's quite unlucky. So we'll stay here a little bit, like, hopefully we'll really hope that something come drink at that water hole, but if nothing come, I think she's going to probably lie there for a while. She seems very safe and hidden in that patch of grass there. But you never know, huh? Sometimes you think nothing is going to happen, and then in the next minute you can see something extraordinary. Some birds there. Cape turtle dove. Megan, you would like to know what have been my favorite leopard sighting ever? I think it's difficult to choose one. I had a very good sighting in the Sabi Sands where this leopard was lying at eye level with me on a termite mound and quite close, and the sun was setting at the back. That was a beautiful moment. So there's quite a few different sightings. Obviously seeing a leopard climbing in the tree in the Manyaleti was very nice and feeding on the kill. But I must say the two previous sightings I had here in the beginning when I arrived on my first day was pretty amazing, with Kara in the tree, and she lost a kill from the tree who fell on the ground, and the hyenas stole it. That was very nice. But the one who gave me the most goosebump was the same day, that evening, when Tawangumi just walked past me. I think that was very special for me. This is why I tried to go and look for him this morning. Unfortunately, no luck. But yeah, it's difficult to choose one specific best leopard sighting. They're all quite special generally, except now the one we can't really see. But yeah, they're especially exciting moment to have a leopard sighting. So these birds there are Cape turtle doves, which is very common in the bush. I don't see any other animals around. It's so sad that this little duiker just ran away. Would have been nice to see some action. I never saw a leopard kill. I did see in the past cheetah kill, lion kill, wild dog kills, but I never saw a leopard killed, so that would be great for me. If I can see one until I leave, it would be quite an amazing experience, and obviously to share that with you guys live from the bush would be even greater. But now I'm not being very lucky with lying flat in the ground, on the ground. So there's a car driving a bit behind us now. Shame, this visual is very bad. Maybe we can just try to zoom. I'm making Morgan walk a bit now, but maybe just walk and zoom on the tail again. If there's any new viewers, just for you to see how well hidden this leopard is. As you see, just a little tip, the tip of the tail coming out. Okay, so I don't think we'll spend too much more time here. We'll wait a little bit more, but we will for the moment send you to JP at the waterhole.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. We eventually made our way back towards Ndlovu Dam. We were hoping that we were going to find some elephants, but in the meanwhile we've been treated to a number of giraffe as well as our hippo still down here at the dam. You'll see a giraffe in the distance. One of them just got up, something hindered him, and he's just busy staring, while the other one is very cautiously looking around as well, before it actually brings its head down to come and drink. We generally will watch giraffe as they approach for water, that they'll stand, look the whole time, make sure that there's no potential threats. Because when your head is down and you're busy drinking, you're in a very, very vulnerable position. For me, one of the most fascinating things about giraffe is a number of different adaptations that they had to undergo to deal with this incredibly long head. And one of the things that they have to do is this little cute little 45-degree angled front leg split that they're performing at the moment, so that they can bring the head down to come and drink. But on top of that, they've also got a number of valves as well as elastic blood vessels and very tight stocking-like structures around the feet to regulate that blood pressure and preventing creating any damage. There we go, the head is up again. One of the things I like to try and photograph always, especially if it's in the late afternoon and there's good sunlight, so it's in your favor, is that when they drink, that they often flick a little bit of water off the mouth. That second one is now also looking, and we've got the other one busy drinking again. And one of the predators that's been hanging around this waterhole now for the last few days is a single lioness. It is often utilizing this dam wall as a viewpoint and waiting for a number of animals to come and drink. And I'm sure that if they do know that she's here, they would be extra cautious about coming towards the water. A few interesting things about giraffes that I would like to share with you, especially if you're a first-time viewer that hasn't learned anything or know anything about giraffes. One of those things is that they got precisely the same amount of vertebra than that we have. They're also the world's tallest land mammal, and they can get up to 5.8 meters in height. Some of the other interesting things is that they got a very specialized atlas and axis vertebra, which enables them to tilt their head in an upright position at some 90 degrees. We also find that their blood pressure is precisely double that of a human being. So where perfect blood pressure is 80 over 120 over 80, for them it's 160 over 240, naturally, that they can get. Some of the other things I also find quite interesting about giraffe in terms of adaptations is that specific tight skin around the feet, which regulates the flow from blood and prevents that they have too much pressure that can negatively affect them. And that whole mechanism has been studied, and the same strategy has been applied into military pilots' flight suits to prevent them from blacking out when they are at high altitude and hitting negative G's. I also find it particularly interesting that they've got a very small stomach compared to that of animal that are such as a buffalo. But what they do have in their favor is like finger-like little protrusions on the inside of the stomach, which actually increases the surface area of the stomach, making it more effective in absorbing nutrients and minerals. Especially when you come to eating leaf material or any plant material that actually has very low nutritional value, and you have to have a strategy of actually extracting all that nutrients and minerals, and in combination with the bacteria that lives inside your stomach, that will then break it down and convert it into a usable form.
Yeah, so we decided to go make a little loop around Treehouse Dam and give some space to other vehicles. Because he's still lying there, I think we don't have much of the show left. Maybe we'll just go have a look there, and maybe we'll pause again next to Moya a little bit later to see if there's anything happening. The visual was very bad, unfortunately, but I'm sure you got a good look at her also earlier with Lauren. Hopefully she will stay in the area for this afternoon. Didn't see any elephant this morning, well on my side. I generally see more elephants in the afternoon. Maybe there will be some interesting birds at the dam, never know. I saw a beautiful saddlebill stork there a couple of days ago. Almost at the dam.
Welcome back to Bushwalk. We're still sitting at the Ndlovu Dam, just checking out what's going on. There's a number of vivid monkeys that has also come to visit at the dam, some of them as having a quick little drink. I'm just going to see if we can pan in onto him and see what he's up to. At the moment, you'll notice that their fur is quite puffed up. And the reason for that is we've got cold air coming in with a cold front, which is cooling down everything. And this is a mechanism that they use to trap the air underneath the fur to insulate themselves more effectively. It's also quite interesting is that they can regulate their body temperature by pumping or cooling down blood before it goes into the tail to prevent any further loss of energy and heat as that blood goes into the tail. The one that we see over there is quite large. I haven't been able to see what's going underneath his tail, but most likely it is one of the most dominant individuals in this group. And what we'll often notice is that with the dominant males, that they've actually got an incredibly bright blue scrotum. We've just been joined by an elephant as well. He might have heard us or smelt us. You can see his trunk is up. Let's sit very still over here and just see what they get up to. I'm going to be dead quiet. Let's just enjoy the sighting. There's two bulls that are coming in. At the moment, the wind is blowing straight towards them, so they might pick us up again. But then it's also swirling every now and then. Let's just see what they do. For those of you who has joined us for the first time and who's not sure how to separate males from females, you'll notice that the head profile or the forehead is quite round with the bulls. And also what you'll notice is that the angle between the groin and the chest is quite sloped in the males compared to a female, where the angle between the groin and chest is fairly straight. And they also lack the mammalia between the front legs, which is one of the defining characteristics of elephants and rock hyraxes, which puts them together as two very close relatives. Oh, there's a third one coming in. So these males, they are number 4 coming in as well. Let's see what they get up to. I think they're all going to go and drink, joined by number 5. Let's see if there's more. Pretty awesome. Our vivid monkeys doesn't like it. They've been pushed off by the elephants. You can see that they're running off in front of the elephant in the front and making their way up into the tree there. So elephants are water dependent. They generally come and drink at least once a day. Sometimes I find them that the individuals will come in more often. And they're dependent on some 120 litres of water to support themselves. I also find it particularly interesting that in some arid environments in the western half of South Africa, that they will actually be able to go without water for several days, and that they sometimes will walk some 80 kilometers to in between the areas where they drink and where they generally will feed. You see their arrival is a little bit later today, seeing that it's become overcast and much cooler. On the warmer days, we tend to find that the elephants come in way earlier already to come and have a drink. You can see some of the more dominant individuals pushing the younger ones apart as they're making their way towards the water. Just note for one in the back, sliding down on his knees down that embankment to just make sure that he breaks himself. There's also a number of fork-tailed drongos that are flying in front of the elephants the whole time, picking off little insects off the water. You might be able to see them as if the elephants have been disturbing the ground. They've also been flying behind the elephants, making their way towards the water. Our monkeys are feeling a little bit more relaxed now. They've just jumped down to the ground again. They're running around behind the elephants. There's also a giraffe that's coming up just behind the elephant now as well. You can just see his head sticking out. So normally on the warmer days, like yesterday, we had a number of groups of elephants coming in and out towards this dam, all coming to swim. I definitely agree. I just love watching elephants. If I can watch elephants and giraffes all day long, I'm quite happy. They're always doing something. I also always love watching elephants, how they use their trunks. Such an interesting thing to watch. If you look at the trunk itself, it's one large muscle consisting of 6 main muscles and almost 100,000 units that makes up that whole structure. And to think of it, that they can use it as a snorkel. One of my favorite things to see elephants going through deep water and then pushing out that little trunk of theirs as that they're moving through and then moving out on the other side. Often you'll see them using it to throw dust on themselves, mud on themselves, pick up little seeds, and even do gentle little tasks as cleaning their eyes. Sometimes I've also noticed that they use the trunk as a method of punishment, especially young little elephants. If they misbehave and they don't do what mom wants, a very quick slap of a trunk will very quickly put you back in place. and you'll behave as that she would like you to behave. One of the things that I also find quite interesting that they use the trunk for is to spray water, and a few times I've actually watched them that they will spray other animals. Once it was impalas, and another time it was me. I was sitting on the embankment close by to a water body watching two large bulls busy swimming, and then they came up to me, and one of the bulls thought, no, he's going to take, and spouted me with a jet of water. I think our hippopotamus is quite happy today, seeing that it's much cooler, and it's unlikely for these elephants to come in to have a swim. We're going to watch it. It looks like they're going to start moving off now. But in the meanwhile, let's go and see what the guys have on the other side.
Yeah, so we passed 3 hours down. It was very quiet. We're currently driving on the Philemon Scott line, trying to see if we can find anything on that side. We saw elephant here yesterday, so maybe they like this area and we might see them. Yeah, so Moya was still lying in that patch of grass, so there was no visual at all. So we decided maybe to go and maybe might try again this afternoon. Maybe what we will do is drive around here. Maybe try Zoe's Road. I don't think there was any report of lions on Juma today. What I understood is that they were to the border of the Manyaleti, which is quite far from here and next to Buffelshoek. Donovan, you would like to know what is one of the animals I didn't see yet and I would wish to see? Oh, there's a few of them. I never saw meerkats. I've never been in the Kalahari area, so I never saw meerkats except in a rehabilitation center. But wild meerkat I never saw. I would love to see them. They are very cute. Obviously, gorillas as well would be great. Obviously, we don't find them in this area. But I would say, yeah, I've been quite lucky in the Lofeld area. I saw pangolin before, I saw aardvark before. But maybe in this area, I'm not sure which one I never saw. I'm thinking about it now. But yes, I think special animals like gorillas and chimpanzees, which is highly endangered, I would like to see them one day before it gets worse, if it gets worse. Yeah, there's a few species of birds, quite a lot of them that I never saw before in this area that I would like to see, like the Narina trogon. I never saw one. The gorgeous bushshrike also I would like to see and didn't see one before. Obviously birding is a little bit more difficult to find all the species. There are small animals and also they migrate, so they're not here all the time for some species. I think I'm going to go try. Let's go a bit forward here and see what's happening and maybe turn around after. So So now we're driving on a road where we got this exciting sighting of elephant yesterday with this young bull coming close to the car. Don, you would like, it's a good question, do snake pose a problem to sleeping leopards? Not really. Snake, it's important to know that snakes will not eat leopards unless it's a very big African python. But snakes will usually be quite careful because they don't want to waste their venom. They use their venom to catch their food, so they don't want to go bite an animal just to bite an animal. So I don't think it causes any problem for leopards, and also leopards might try to kill them. So yeah, I don't think snake is a big problem, but it happened in the past that lions and leopards got bitten by a snake, definitely. So continuing on that road, hopefully we found any sort of animal around here, would be nice.
As the sun goes down in Africa, for many, the day has just begun. Wild Earth is ready for the next brand new concept, and this time it's at night. A specialized thermal drone will take to the air under the cover of darkness. As it flies above the bush, it will be searching for hotspots on the ground.
We might have a leopard on the far right of this group of hyena.
The ground team will then be called to identify the animal.
It is a warthog. That's exactly what it is. So there we go. It was a warthog that was running away from... Sorry, Warty.
And of course, it is at this time when the big cats are on the hunt.
Yeah, James, just head a little bit more left.
Okay, Gabby, I'm going to go north around on Impala Road.
Okay, the lions are on the move, guys. Lions are chasing the wildebeest.
Wild Earth is looking for a sponsor who can help turn this show to a long-running series. If you are interested, then head over to our website to find out more. wildearth.tv/sponsors. As one of the industry's best and Fagasa Indoors training institutes, NJ Moorfield Guide College produces professional guides of exceptional caliber and gives students from around the world an incredible experience. NJ Moore offers courses to suit all types of interests. The full-length career course results in a Fagasa accredited qualification and the option of a 6-month internship at one of Moore Family Collection's luxury safari lodges. Shorter courses are a great introduction for those considering a career in field guiding or even a life-enriching experience in your gap year. With spaces still available in July, don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to live your African dream.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at And Beyond Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through And Beyond Ngala on Wild Earth. Send me live questions through the Wild Earth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. We're still watching our hippo at the moment. Unfortunately, our 5 large elephant bulls have just left. and they're just out of sight from where we are. They're most likely on their way to go and have a little bit of a wallow. There's an area to the back where there's a number of pools that's already dried up and where there's a lot of mud remaining. So most of you most likely know that elephants like to go and bathe in mud, so that helps to get rid of cooling themselves first, but also that the parasites that are on their skin will get stuck onto that, and quite often they'll go and rub themselves against a tree directly afterwards. Other than that, our giraffe has also disappeared, but maybe what we can just do is enjoy a silent moment and have a look at what the hippo is up to. We're going to hang around here a little bit longer and see what happens around the dam. But let's go and see what Cedric's up to.
Yeah, so we decided to make our way back to quarantine. Still driving around here. We're quite far still. But still quiet. Nice to see some hippos with JP at the dam. Hopefully this afternoon Moya will still be in the same area and we might go check there, obviously. It would be great to see her nice in the open instead of lying in the bush and hiding. And hopefully I hope to find a bit more animals this afternoon. Little three squirrels chasing each other there. Don't know if we'll be able to see, but we're quite close. I'm just going to try. I think they're gone. Yeah, they are very fast, the three squirrels. Lots of elephant dung on the road, which is quite old actually. It's not very fresh at all. Arriving at the junction where there's a beautiful torchwood tree. This tree is very spectacular. I'm just going to stop 2 minutes to show it to you, just in front of us there. It is a beautiful tree, called also green thorn. If I'm not mistaken, it's one of the trees that Trishella really likes. It would be great to see a leopard one day on that tree. Roman, you would like to know if I ever saw a white giraffe or a leucistic animal? No, I never saw a white giraffe, but as well as over in the impala. I saw, however, the white lions in the Kruger National Park. It was quite nice. I saw them a couple of times, and it's always special because it's very rare. But there's two white lions who are getting quite, they're all like sub-adults now. Close to, not too far from where we are actually, but on the Kruger National Kruger National Park side, excuse me. And they are quite common to see there, these two, as a male and a female. And then there's one big male white lion also further east in the Kruger National Park. So I saw all of them, but that's the only animal I saw. But it's a great experience to see them because it's quite rare. Well, I never saw a white giraffe. Would be great. Oh, some cocky francolin. It will be quite tough in the long grass. I will try my best. There's one walking there. Yeah, so they are called cocky francolin. So they're from the francolin family. But you don't see them often. Well, I don't. It's quite nice to see. Fortunately, the grass is a bit long. But there's one might pop out there. So they have a bright yellow head, which is an easier way to recognize it. There was a few of them. Unfortunately, they just ran into the long grass. It's important to know a bit the birds because like now there's not much to see, so when you drive like that, if you know a bit your birds, you can just, enjoy showing the birds to the people with you on the vehicle. So we're almost done. I will just stop around here and maybe look at the view or the tree to say goodbye. I'm just going to say goodbye here. Looking at some marula trees with obviously lose their leaves in winter, but there's one at the back who still have some leaves. Marula trees are quite unique, nice, because they are a male and female, and it's only the female that will give the fruit, and the fruit is very nice. You can make some nice amarula, which is a local drink here in South Africa. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all your questions. Hopefully this afternoon we'll get some nice sighting. But I had fun. I hope you too. I would like to say bye for now and see you this afternoon.